Coming up on Be Kind, Let's Rewind.
Today we're talking about 90s video and video game rental stores. As you can see, we have special guest, Mr. Gibbs. Damn it, I was so disappointed.
Blockbuster video at the number one slot. I'm pretty sure I got my first boner with a Conan the Barbarian.
I got my last boner from that.
You know what else you can't find? Shannon Tweed's Scorned. What happened to that movie?
I remember whenever Mortal Kombat came out on video.
Dude.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park with a subwoofer was the f***ing tits.
Please!
I love that intro.
You like scary movies?
4, 3, 2, 1.
Cue music.
Blockbuster video. Wow, what a difference.
Welcome to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast no one asked for, with your hosts, Chris, Leaf, and Shadwick.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Be Kind, Let's Rewind, the nostalgia podcast that no one asked for. Today, we're talking about 90s video and video game rental stores. As you can see, we have special guest, Mr. Gibbs, back with us again, fresh off his Michael Uslan shout-out. How does that feel, buddy?
It was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
Us too. Us too.
It just shows that Eli will listen to this podcast and a tears
Artificial intelligence.
He's a close 30-second.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
Are you talking about the mistake by the lake?
What's great is your wife called Shadwick out on that on social media, and I had to explain to my wife what the hell was going on with that.
And someone had to explain it to me too, because I forgot I said it.
Yeah, when he said mistake by the lake, but he was talking about Eli being cool. To
Yeah, no, I remember the joke, but what happened with my wife?
Oh, she was like, you, because Shadwick said something about Eli being cool, and she was like, I thought he was the mistake by the lake. You need to pick a lane or something like that, jokingly.
And I was like, what are you talking about?
You didn't remember saying it.
No, I don't remember a quarter of the shit that I say.
Oh, God.
I mean, that's the thing about Anyway, I'm not going to get into this.
Okay, all right.
Apparently, my wife listens.
Yeah. So, I wanted to start off before we get into it, talking today about something I'm very passionate about, and that is fucking work bathroom etiquette. God damn it! Look, if we have a diagram up and there's 6 urinals, and I'm peeing in number 1. And you come in the bathroom, you go to number 6. You don't fucking pony up next to me.
How the hell am I supposed to see your dick that way?
That's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Stop looking at my dick.
Same thing with the stalls, man. Sometimes I would be on night shift at work, and I'm in there's no one there. I'm in this one stall, and in my brain there's 40 stalls, and this one dude's like, well, I guess I'll saddle up next to the only guy in here shitting.
Did you kick him in the ass afterwards for being a fucking meat gazer?
That you get.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome at work if he just says to you, oh, man, you don't bite, you just rent it.
I was like, for that, it's 2 kicks. So, do you guys have any thoughts on that?
We've only got a 1-shooter in our bathroom, so we don't have to worry about that.
That's
shit.
good.
Yeah.
The cameras are kind of intrusive, but I don't mind them as much.
Really? Well, you don't notice them when they're in the toilet.
In the toilet, yeah. What a gross view.
Barely
anyway,
even see 'em.
Chadwick,
Yeah.
I know we've questioned sometimes some sanitary practices at your place of employment.
Yeah, man. We have an office bathroom, for the office employees, and then we have a warehouse, and neither one of them are ideal. But the warehouse it's the smell, man. It's the only way I can describe it in 2 words: thick and sticky.
The smell or the feel?
The smell.
Dude.
We just have a warehouse full of mud butt.
Okay. And with that, we'll take us over to So when I was at the actual liquor store today, I was just purchasing my beer leaf, and there was a beer by Monday Night Brewing
What's a beer
called Street Boxing, and I was like, well, I don't want anybody.
Brothers get drunk and want to compete. Slap boxing in the street.
So instead, I went with Voodoo Ranger Juice Hazy, our IPA. Or Juice Haze. Whatever. Just say
Juicy
whatever.
Haze. That's Sarah's favorite beer.
Is it? It's a solid beer.
My wife.
Chris wanted to drink something where he didn't have to compete.
And Gibbs knows that because he pays attention to his wife. He loves his wife.
Yes, he's a very good husband. Gibbs, what are you drinking over there?
He's like the 34th best thing that's ever happened to me. Today I am drinking.
The first 33 can start right here.
Bud Light. I mean,
Nice.
That's
fine. As
a chaser, I'm drinking spicy pickle vodka, brought to you by the original pickle shop.
Damn it! I was so disappointed.
My chest burned when I watched you do that,
Dude.
It's been that kind of day, fellas.
I'm gonna be honest. I was real disappointed when you pulled out the. There was no spicy pickle vodka. That's like kind of your trademark now, and I love it. I love it so much.
Oh my god,
Daddy, what do you got down there, brother?
I'm trying to finish off the 4th of July beers, all the stuff we had at the pool.
Oh, nice,
Yeah, it's not bad. It's a little light,
refreshing.
but you know,
Not as refreshing as pickled vodka. Sponsor our podcast.
And to back it up, still got the Traveler.
Oh man, so
It's a little hot outside for bourbon.
damn it, dude! No, we're not starting out good, dude. Guys, we're supposed to ease into it.
here's the thing. Walker
Fellas.
told me I have AIDS.
We have not had air conditioning for like the last 2 weeks. I need
Jeez.
this.
Do you have it back now?
No. On Tuesday it's coming in. So
Air conditioning at your house or
Yeah.
what?
yeah, at my house.
That's
Fuck that.
Oh,
How do you sleep?
with pickled vodka. Are you kidding?
Literally,
Yeah,
I have to.
Yeah.
Leaf, what do you got, brother?
brother. I'm hitting a little bit. You know, some people like to drink. You know, the classic, the Captain, right? You know,
Yeah,
you're on
yeah.
the high seas.
Fucking
No,
spit it out already.
not on this house. Give me a build up, dude. Dadgummit. We gave Gibbs his time. This is my time, Chadwick.
Let him work. Let him work.
Let me
This is what
cook,
happened-
dude.
This is what happens when you show up on time. I have to dig you for something else.
Shadow's bag's not very deep. He's
I was
got
like
pull
five.
something out.
I was like 5 minutes late, but all right, listen.
But
Where
he's-
was I? Oh yeah, so yeah, a lot of people are drinking the Captain, right? You know what I mean? The Captain.
yeah.
They're selling the high seas. Not in this house. In this house, we drink the Admiral.
Oh,
Admiral Nelson to you and Coca-Cola.
The Admiral.
to the Admiral.
It's a trap.
Yeah. So today's topic
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference!
is just basically us going down memory lane, talking about the feeling back in the 90s when you would go to a video game or video store to rent a movie or a game. And Leaf has a little bit of background on, we're basically going to cover the three bigs. I know some people come at us and be like, well, I had these independent, and then I had a real good relationship with, look, we live in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Like, we had the three major ones, and most of the time, and the porno store in different parts of town. But anyway, Leaf, go ahead and kick us off.
You didn't need a building for that. There was a guy on Russell Boulevard that sold shit.
He was right down the street from Leaf's dad's work where we worked there. That's not a joke.
And Uncle Tony made a lot of money doing that.
Yeah. Probably paid for Gibbs' 6th birthday party.
Yeah.
There were
And his 9th.
69, dude.
Yes.
there were in general, and I'd like to get the guys' inputs on this, excluding the local rental stores. Pretty much everybody had one of those. If I'd like to know the name of yours, you can comment it in the comment section below,
or hit us up on the new Discord channel. We got the link in the bio.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
also website dklrpodcast.com. Hit us up.
He says that, but he never puts the links in.
He does.
Always.
Dude,
You never watched the show.
I seen them.
This is
So
art to me. This
we
is
have
all
three-
I have.
We have three main like video rental places that I have here. Of course, and we're gonna go in order and then give a little information about them. Everyone knows them. Everyone loves them.
Mm-hmm.
Blockbuster Video at the number one slot, baby. Is an American multimedia brand, if you've forgotten, and a formal rental store chain. The business was founded by David Cook in 1985, actually. So earlier than I even remember.
Wow.
At its peak in 2004, Blockbuster employed 84,000 people worldwide and operated over 9,000 stores.
Damn.
They don't call them boring ass facts for nothing, kids.
Yep. Hey, you got to set the table.
Hey, David Cook eventually sold that to Wayne Huizenga, who we all know is the evil man from Miami that owned the Dolphins and all that shit.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's dead.
What's wrong with you? I say he did.
So Blockbuster, I remember for me, Highway 58, man. They had the Blockbuster. Before that, I believe there was one in Brainerd Road. But when we got the one on 58, this basically is what every weekend of me and Leaf's childhood was based around. So either my mom or Leaf's mom would take us on Fridays. We would go there. We're talking, we're going to rent a movie. We're going to rent a game or two. And it's probably all going to be under $10. And there's the weekend, man. And you just would play the game at night, watch the movie at night. We were playing outside because we're not like damn kids these days. And but anyway,
we mixed it. We had a delicious mix. Chris and I, until we became actual, young adults, were pretty good kids. We'd stayed inside. We loved playing basketball outside, football, basketball, tag, et cetera, et cetera. And then we'd come inside and play as much video games as we could possibly stand.
I remember John Finkel talking about. Didn't you win a dunk contest?
Yeah, right? he said Leaf didn't win a dunk contest. John Finkel didn't know Leaf was in a wheelchair. So
that's fine, John. If you're watching this, I'll hold nothing against you. But you owe us.
Hey, for real,
owe the podcast.
Yeah, shout out to John, by the way, for plugging us in his newsletter. That was badass.
Cheers to that fucking
He's a fucking great guy. We love him. What I want to also say about kids today is Leaf was in a wheelchair playing outside. So I mean, what excuse do you have? Like, go outside.
These kids these days, they can't win one way or another. Like, they go outside and they're like, "Where's your parents?" And then they go inside and like, "Why can't you guys go outside and play?"
That's actually a good point.
It's a shit fucking world for kids right now.
And they're fucking 10 ply.
God, they're the worst things that's ever happened.
So
I'm actually very glad that we're destroying the world right now, so that they have no future.
Hey, that's why I'm taking my DNA with me. Deuce. Gibbs, hit me with some memories of when you were a kid in the 90s.
Oh God, I have so many memories. But like the first stores you went to, like I went to like Albertsons, like a grocery store to get like my movies. But then
so they actually rented the movies at the grocery store. This is when you're in Florida?
Yeah, when I was in Florida. And I had my favorite thing was just looking at the covers.
Oh dude, yes.
I think that like the cover art and poster art is like a lost like art. Like it really is like the most it's what caught your attention. Now you see posters and it just shows like Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds standing back to back with a white background, and you're like, what's this
QR
about?
code or some shit.
Star Wars, and you see this guy with a freaking laser sword on top of a mountain of freaking people, and you're like, holy shit.
I miss
Conan O'Brien.
I miss those like hand drawn movie.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Like the old Universal monsters.
And I think that was the best way for like I'm a big horror movie fan, so that's like how a movie would get me. Is I'd be like, what the hell is that thing? And half the time it's like that was not in the movie. What?
Hey, we talked about this on another episode. Did you ever rent Ghoulies?
That's on my list.
He did. He sent me a picture. So I had him send me a picture so I could put everything in post, and I laughed my ass off when Gibbs sent me that thing because I was like, Gibbs is the only motherfucker in America that rented Ghoulies.
Yes.
The only one. It was always there.
So, of course, I would go to Blockbuster. There was a little mom and pop place called Video Mart.
Yeah.
But also the racetrack gas station, they had a little section. And I remember Ghoulies and Troll and Action Jackson never moved.
Action Jackson, that's a good show.
You didn't go to my store. I always had those.
They were never there because of Gibbs.
Yeah.
No.
Howard the Duck.
I didn't see Ghoulies. I did see Troll. And Action Jackson was a pretty fucking good movie.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. These little crappy B movies, the way that they got people to actually pay money was having cool art that you're like, what is this thing? And then you watch it like, what is this thing?
I really think something that can go into this too is I don't think the people in Hollywood understood how big the rental business was going to be. And by the time they understood how big the rental business was going to be, it was dead.
Yeah.
So it's like those B movies, like, I mean, we're all huge Kevin Smith fans. Like Mallrats did shit in the box office, but we all found it somehow, probably in a rental store. I know that's the first time I saw it.
I know I got that at Blockbuster.
So it's like you find these gems and these comedies, and even like the dudes behind the counter sometimes you talk to, just because they work at Blockbuster doesn't make them any less than like a regular guy that worked at your mom and pop store. They would still be like, dude, if you like this movie, go watch this one or whatever. And it was this whole, the artwork too, like, especially the horror movies that had like the scantily clad women, like fucking tagging 12-year-old Chris when mom's down there looking at God knows what. And I'm like,
I'm pretty sure that I got my first boner with a Conan the Barbarian. You know what I mean? With the sword, and this bitch is like grabbing his leg. I was like, dude, I'm in for this. Can I be him?
I got my last boner from that.
There it is. There it is.
I used to drive the guys at the video store crazy because, like, you know, like Blockbuster, I spent so much time, and it was walking distance for me. So
how old were you back then?
Dude, it was between third grade and eighth grade. So, you know, about then. We were, like I said, we could walk anywhere. We could walk to the movie theater. We could walk to the arcade. We could walk to the Blockbuster. So we'd walk to the Blockbuster, and if they didn't have the movie we wanted, I was like, well, I got nothing else going on today, buddy. I'll wait until somebody returns it. And I would stand there by the return box, and if somebody returned a video, I'd go to the guy and be like, can you check that and see if is that Jurassic Park right there?
That is amazing.
Dude. They hated me so freaking much.
So I wouldn't stay there and wait for it. But I did have that same move. Like as soon as I got there, I would immediately go to the return box. And
dude, that was the move.
Remember they had the return box with the slot and everything. And then when they would check them in, they would like just stack them up beside that return box.
So you could read those.
So you know that's like those are the most recently returned, which is probably what I'm looking for.
Yep.
Maybe not. Might be some still down in the box. You gotta have the guy look. He's going to give you attitude about it. It's like,
and that was none of us actually none of us worked at a video store, right? We worked.
I never
me, Gibbs, and Leaf worked in the movie theater. Shadwick had several other jobs. So, but none of us ever worked at. So I can't speak from experience on that, but I can speak from the dead eyes of the guy behind the counter.
Lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eye.
When I was like, hey man, is Jim Carrey's The Mask back?
Please kill me.
I would have been the worst employee at Blockbuster because I probably would have just called the cops on every kid that asked me a question. Kids loitering.
They're just not having it from anybody.
Another thing I remember about Blockbuster that kind of set them apart from everybody else was they would have the cardboard cutouts.
They would. Yeah.
I think I want to say it was maybe it's probably Terminator 2. I remember the big cutout where he's sitting on the motorcycle.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Now I believe early on, and correct us in the comments if I'm wrong. I think early on they were sending out still movie standees that were actually in the theater. So they were still
Probably.
Later on they did become specialized for video rentals.
Yeah.
Like they were different cardboard cutouts. Also, side note, you know what were an absolute bitch to put together? Those fucking things. Whoever makes those, fuck you.
They were gigantic in some cases. It's just like 3 people to like get them to like.
I was like
a puzzle.
It was like fucking a 700 step thing, and then you would that's
There were
why
times
that's
whenever
why dude, that's why we burn them in the parking lot.
There were times,
Allegedly, that's ignorant.
there were times whenever they'd come in and I would just take it straight to the dumpster and pretend like it never came in.
That's not a lie.
If y'all,
I'm not
if
doing
any,
that.
if any of y'all have experienced the elation of going to the video store and being there when the video or the movie or game or whatever you wanted was returned while you were shopping.
Oh yeah.
And the person being like, hey, like you were looking for this thing, like we got it. Like it just came in, like why you were looking for other shit because it wasn't there originally. There's almost hardly a better high ever.
What about the opposite of that though? When you finally see the thing you're looking for and someone grabs it right in front of you,
Dude, yeah.
That was how I committed my first murder.
You know there were fist fights and all kinds of shit like because of that.
Well,
So-
I remember whenever Mortal Kombat came out on video.
Dude.
Combat begins.
Like I was there the first day and they were all out. Like they didn't have. Usually they had an entire wall of the same thing. You know, whenever a new movie came out, that one for some reason only had like one row of shelves.
Yeah.
So that day I went after school and they were out and I just stood by the box annoying the guy. Like normally he's like, dude, this is the first day. Who do you think's gonna watch a movie and then return it the same day? And I was like, that's a good point. I'm always late. I mean, I don't know. So I started calling. Like I would just start calling. Did anybody return it yet? Like not the same day, but the next day. Like anybody return it yet? Anybody return it yet? And the guy's like, no. I was like, is there any way I could just buy a copy from you? Because I was that obsessed with Mortal Kombat.
Oh, dude, because it was great.
And the guy was like, if you want to buy a copy this early in the release, it's $75. And I was like, okay, for real, man, how much is it? And he's like, no, seriously, like if you want to buy it this
so
early,
you could buy it from the actual store.
Blockbuster, apparently, I found this out later, they had like this contract with movie studios where they had first dibs on release. So like the first week or so of a release, it was only at Blockbuster.
Right.
But they also had a chance to sell it at their wholesale price, like manufacturers.
And that was probably like, because Mortal Kombat was mid 90s, right? Wasn't that like
it's 95.
Okay, so mid 90s, I believe, is when they started kind of, okay, like this is a big deal. We can, because I believe Blockbuster still had to pay early on in movie rentals. You bought the copy of the DVD or excuse me, the VHS, that was yours. And you could rent it with no, like, I don't believe there's any charge or anything until movie companies were like, whoa.
They had a big charge, but then after that, it was unlimited rentals and stuff. So, like, sure, you got it, paid for it up front, but in the end, you ended up making money off of it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that Mortal Kombat movie from the 90s fucking sucked, didn't it?
You can
Number
just go ahead and log off.
Goodbye.
Yeah, number 2 did. But no.
Wait a second, this is my podcast.
Dude,
I'm the face of the business.
I love the first Mortal Kombat, but like
it's cheesy and it's crap.
The quality, it was not exceptional.
But
maybe I'm thinking of Street Fighter.
Yeah, Street Fighter was
Street Fighter was great.
That was ass.
R.I.P. Raul Julia.
For the fans of Mortal Kombat, it was exactly what you wanted.
Oh, dude,
except for Reptile.
Yeah. Actually, this information was pretty fucking hard to come by. So I tried to look because I remember going in video stores later on and they would have like top 10 lists, like most rented movies, most rented video games. I remember seeing it in magazines. That shit is like scrubbed on the internet. On the internet, I mean, I Googled it and looked for at least like 40 to 50 seconds. Couldn't find it. Moved on with my life. So
you know what else you can't find? Shannon Tweed's Scorned. What the fuck? What happened to that movie?
Why is that classic not still out there?
I know.
Whenever I searched for it, Google came up with a follow-up question that said, "What are rentals?" Google.
Google. Let me tell you, gentlemen, how I found this. I used our Lord and Savior, artificial intelligence, to create this list. And I also actually went back and sort of verified it, and it didn't match up with people's like Chris said, you really can't find anything about it, but it's like there's very scant evidence that most of these are in no particular order, pretty popular.
And they usually correlated with box office, like the big ones correlated with box office hits. Occasionally you'd have a sleeper sneak in, you know. Leaf, read off a couple and then let's tell some stories on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go from there.
Absolutely. In no particular order or year, we have number one, The Lion King, the cartoon, 1994 classic. I never saw it. Like originally, I hate to say this, I'm gonna be 100%. Little Mermaid was my jam. Like that was the Disney movie that came out.
Movie. Yeah.
We had it on VHS. I probably watched it 100 times when Saturday morning cartoons went off.
It was a whole new world.
Like I was a kid. Yeah. Oh, okay. So number two, we have Jurassic Park.
Okay.
In the 1993
got a great story for this one. This speaks to my character for Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park comes out on VHS. We did rent it. But eventually, like I was like, we should buy this. I love this movie. My dad, which you guys know, he was a jazz musician, bass player. He's obsessed with technology back in the day, but we had a sound
quite
system.
the lover, I hear.
He sired two children.
Cuz I'm Mike Lowry.
It's not Martin Lawrence. Anyway, so he had a subwoofer, the first subwoofer I've ever seen in my life. Like for a home theater system at home, right? And so I was like, damn, that's badass. And he was like telling my mom, it reminds me a lot of like me and my wife now, where I'm like, dude, I got this new technology. It can do this. And she's like, that's nice. Like still reading her newspaper, like on Orgasmo. So I was like, okay.
I don't think I'm going to do hamster
Yeah, I was
style.
not doing hamster style anymore. So I just finally one day I was like, yeah, I don't feel good. I'm staying home from school.
She's like, does that new technology help you mow the grass?
It does not. And so I was like, hey man, I'm just gonna, Mom, I'm sick. I've got the itis. I'm staying home. And so she's like, cool. She goes to work, and then my whole plan was like, I'm going to load up Jurassic Park and I'm gonna watch it on this subwoofer. And the best part was it was March Madness, and I remember the year because it was the year UTC upset Georgia in the first round. So I watched Jurassic Park with the subwoofers on full fucking blast, then turned on the UTC upsetting them. So that's probably 98, my senior year in high school. Go Chris. Solid decision. You know what? Fuck that English class you missed that day.
Dude, like who even cares about that shit now? Excellent decision, because this story is worth more than school ever be.
That shit thumped though. Jurassic Park with a subwoofer was the fucking tits. Was amazing. It was like the
rumble
theater.
Your house.
Oh, dude, yeah, because I cranked it. I probably broke it. Sorry, Dad.
The Dark Knight trilogy with a subwoofer.
Oh yeah, also
will drive your dog fucking insane.
Yeah,
Oppenheimer will break your subwoofer.
Yes, and it will also break your mind.
Yeah. All right, so
Chris Nolan, sponsor our podcast.
My first subwoofer movie was Lord of the Rings. Like,
oh geez,
dude, yeah, like it's
that was a long subwoofer.
Yeah.
How many times did you fall asleep?
Yeah. Did the subwoofer?
You're not gonna make me throw up on myself, kid.
Fuck you.
You can roast me as hard as you want to. It's not happening, dude.
I want to make all you
sub.
I've still yet to watch Lord of the Rings.
Did the sub wake you up?
Missed nothing,
dude. It's literally one of our favorite movies in this house.
Did you rent that one at all? Jurassic Park.
Me?
Yeah. Yeah. The only fucking Shadwick on this podcast.
I didn't hear you say Shadwick. I thought you were talking to Leave. I'm sure I did. I know I own that one also. But what was it? I know VHS, when you bought them, they were like $20. But how long was it after they came out before you could buy it?
It was usually a couple of weeks. I mean, it usually depended on how big the movie was a lot of times and what kind of contract they had with them. But like I think it was standard like 2 weeks so that they can make all their money back on the initial sale, and then they would sell them at like $20 price.
Leaf, you got a Jurassic Park one?
Dude, my brother, that is his favorite movie. Like dude, he loved Jurassic Park, and yes, he rented it about 1,000 times. And it was like one of those movies. I don't know if anybody else's moms were like this. They're like, we're not buying it. We're not spending, $20 or whatever dollars it is on the video. Just rent it because, and they had a point. Like, we usually get tired of it. Yeah, you just how many times you going to rewatch it? Just rent it. It's only a few dollars and just get it over with. My brother, man, I don't even know.
We're going to revisit this a lot of times on this list. I was talking about this at work today when I went back and started looking and thinking about all these games. There are so many games and movies that I rented so many times that I very easily could have just bought it straight up. But it became comfort because it was what you did. Like you would go to rent it.
Like renting for me was like it was a trial thing. Like, okay, I'm going to rent it, see if I like it, and then I'm going to buy it if it's worth buying. Mm-hmm. Jurassic Park, like, I saw it in theaters. I had no hesitation buying that one. Like, that was, it's
by the way, if you haven't seen it, check out our Jurassic Park episode. The link will appear in here as I finally figured out how to fucking do that on YouTube. So Gibbs also joined us for that one.
Leaf, when your brother was watching Jurassic Park over and over and over again, were you like, can we watch something else?
Please! I actually liked it too. Like, I really enjoyed it too, but that was his jam. Like, he used to watch it a ton of times in a row. And then, like Chris said, by the time you've watched it and rented it as many times, you could have already bought it, or bought it. But my family was cheaper when it came to entertainment because, like Chris said, we did go outside a lot. We weren't just constantly inside.
But there was like a budget also worked in for like a lot of 90s families where it was like I said, it was like for $10 you could get entertainment for the weekend. So it was like for $10 you could sometimes rent a game, maybe 2 games and a movie, depending on how old the movie was, and like you're set up for the weekend. Then everybody brings them back on Monday because you don't want late fees or whatever. But that's like what it was. So that was already built in. It's kind of like subscriptions now. You're like, I don't watch Paramount, but there it is.
How much more expensive did our weekends get when we started to drink?
Exponentially.
It's hard to remember.
Leaf, can I go ahead and segue to another movie that I'm dying to hear someone's story on this, which I know is on your list.
There's no order, please.
On the list, I want to visit the next one, which I promise I never rented. A certain movie called Titanic. Now, Shadwick, I would like to talk to you about Titanic, but before we do that, I would like to segue over to shit stuck in my head this week.
Dick, you're the best. And we're clear. Let's go get some pussy. Gosh, really? Yeah. I shouldn't. I shouldn't. What, you want? Yes, I said I cannot say no to you. We are going to get some pussy, aren't we? It's going to be fun.
That was shit stuck in my head this week. Shadwick, talk to us.
And yes, I would like some pussy. So the rental for Titanic wasn't really there, but you guys can fact check me on this. I believe Titanic and Scream came out the same year.
No? It was Scream 2.
Really?
And, it came out the same weekend, I think. And Scream 2 outperformed like the first 2 weekends. It wasn't until word of mouth about Titanic came out that they actually started blowing up and stuff. But yeah, it was Scream 2.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
But Scream 2 also
what year did Scream, like the original Scream, come out?
96.
96. Okay. So
he did say he was a horror movie buff. Yes, true.
Damn, did Titanic come out that late?
Yeah, it was 97.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's the year after. The year after.
So
the first Scream wouldn't have done that great, or didn't do that great early on anyway. But that was another word of mouth thing, and then
it also didn't do that great for Chris in the theater when he took a date.
Yeah,
didn't make any moves, and then called her when he got home. Was like, "You like scary movies?"
And she was like, "Hold on, I'm having sex with Brad."
Yeah, I'm like, God damn it, Brad.
It's always Brad.
It's always Brad.
But so like the word of mouth came out with Scream, and they rushed Scream 2 into production, and within like 9 months it was in theaters, and it came out right at the same time as Titanic. And Titanic, the news around the world was that was going to be an epic flop, just terrible because there was so much behind the scenes drama.
Oh, it was going to hit an iceberg.
Yeah, they hit an iceberg and sank, and James Cameron kept on harassing all of
box office poison.
But then they saw it, and then it just blew up.
Well, so the point I was going to make, though, with Scream and Titanic, I kind of had like a running tally on. I think I went to see Scream with 7 different girls, and with Titanic, I think it was only 5.
Oh, wow!
So
I bet that tastes good.
It tasted like buttery, salty popcorn.
Oddly enough, I never saw Titanic. I never rented it, and I never saw it in theaters. I've only seen it once, and I grew up in a Mormon church, and
fuck was that?
And so we weren't allowed to watch R-rated movies. You know, I think I brought this up on this podcast before, but our friends had parents that would watch R-rated movies and go and edit stuff out of it. So I saw they would remove the copy thing, and they would basically just put static over the nudity of Kate Winslet and stuff. And so that's how I saw
Hold on.
Titanic.
Let's rewind that. Be kind. Let's rewind that. So they would put tape over the actual VHS?
No. There's there was a copy protection where you couldn't record on your VHS.
Right.
Like a little tab on the VHS thing.
They would pull that off and then just record static.
Record static over the nudity, which I'm sitting hold on, you're not supposed to watch R-rated movies or nudity, are you?
But how are we supposed to jerk off?
But that's how I watched. That's how I watched it, and that's why I was like, I don't see why anybody likes this movie.
That's what Singled Out is for.
Later on, somebody told me that there was nudity in that movie, and I was like, oh, cool. Mr. Skin's available. I can just kind of
Mr. Skin. Jesus.
Well,
that's some high quality editing.
Yeah, that's for back then.
My parents
Mormons are very serious about repression.
Did y'all remember though?
Allegedly, that's ignorant.
Do y'all remember though, when people were trying to safeguard their videos, they would break that tab off, and all you had to do was put a piece of tape over it.
Yeah,
and you could actually I had just forgotten about that till Gibbs said that there was a hole in the side of the cassette tapes, or 2 holes, and if you taped over one or both of those holes, it was like an anti-recording technology. Yeah. So it's you could try to keep it from recording over your stuff.
Titanic was a big one.
Titanic.
I want to sidetrack real quick. What is the weirdest movie? Weird, wild stuff. What is the weirdest movie that you rented from a video store?
A Clockwork Orange.
Oh my God! Are you looking at my fucking list?
Yeah, no shit.
No.
I promise I didn't send it to anybody except for Leaf and Chadwick.
I didn't see it. I didn't look at it. It was sent to me, but I didn't look at it.
No. Oh no! The weirdest one that I ever watched. I don't remember what it was called, and Leaf, maybe you can remind me. But it was on the tails of Jurassic Park, and it was like a raptor horror movie. And it was
was it Carnosaurus?
The priest?
Yes, it was Carnosaurus. So maybe it wasn't Raptor. I don't remember. But we rented it, or somehow maybe your neighbor rented it. But we watched that at your house one night, late one night, and it was fucking terrible. But
what was the one where a priest turns into a dinosaur?
Oh, Priesty Dinosaur.
Velocipaster.
That's it. Velocipaster. Velocipaster. You got it.
Wow.
I wished I didn't.
I have never seen that, but I thought just the premise was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Leaf, what's the weirdest ones you rented?
It's got to be Carnosaur, man. It was
the
weirdest thing I can remember, dude. Well, that and maybe some of the Munchies, if y'all remember.
Wow.
or perhaps one of the 5 Critter movies.
Yeah,
made in the 80s.
Those were awesome.
Those were
weird, though. Weird fucking movies. Chadwick, we'll let Gibbs bring this one home. But Chadwick, what's the weirdest one? Did you ever rent any weird ones? You go out on a limb?
Yeah, there were a couple. I had.
We are gonna get some pussy, aren't we?
I meant no. I bought all those.
Yeah.
No, a Clockwork Orange, and then. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. It had Mickey Rourke, where
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
No. Well, yeah, but I rented that one so much they wouldn't let me rent it.
Oh wait, that was Mickey Rooney. My bad.
No,
your
fuck.
mic.
God damn it! What's the name of the movie where it had Robert De Niro was the devil? Angel Heart. My art teacher in high school, we were friendly, and she recommended. I was a star pupil, for God's sake. But she recommended Angel Heart. She's like, that's one of my favorite movies. And so I rented it. I think I was probably a senior in high school. And I was like, Jesus Christ, she's dirty. Like, she's got a dark side to her.
Yeah.
So nobody has seen that?
No.
I've never heard of this. Now I have to see it.
Yeah. Never seen it or heard of it yet.
Yeah, so Robert De Niro, he hires Mickey Rourke's character, who is a private detective. He hires him to find someone. And every time he meets back up with Robert De Niro, De Niro's hair is a little bit longer. His nails are a little bit longer. And his character name was Louis Cypher.
That was Raging Bull.
Oh yeah.
Very clever.
So Gibbs, after getting your list, and you watched a lot of.
Well, that really fell flat.
I watched weird shit.
You watch weird shit. So what's the weirdest one of the weird shit you watched?
Eraserhead?
Man, it's hard. I mean, Eraserhead probably would be up there.
Was it Time Cop?
I never rented Time Cop. No, I think that's a hard one. I really don't know. I watched a bunch of weird shit. I mean, I think like the Ghoulies shit is probably really up there. Yeah, I never got to. I watched. I never got to actually rent A Clockwork Orange myself. I had to go through back channels to watch that, but I was obsessed with the cover art of it. Like, I didn't understand what was going on, but I was hypnotized by the artwork on A Clockwork Orange, and I was like, I have to know. In the back cover, I was like, what the hell is going on here? I have to know what the hell is going on here. And so, like, I eventually had a friend record it because, again, Mormons. And, like, so a friend of mine recorded it. And when my parents went to sleep one night, I went downstairs and watched it. And then I was like, oh, that's why they don't want me to watch this movie. Okay.
Yeah, I hate to tell you what I watched after my parents went to bed.
Well, we actually covered it in our one of our previous episodes. Look up our early 90s crushes. You get to hear about all of Chadwick's fiasco.
You guys should do an episode on your favorite porns from the 90s.
That's a great one.
No, because the episode would just be anything on TV.
Yeah. It would be an hour and a half of static.
Yeah, exactly. Scrambled pornographic images. My favorite.
That's a boob. That's a boob.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I can hear it. I can almost hear it.
I can tell you, like, the weirdest situation I got myself into with a movie, like, because I was so obsessed with cover art, and sometimes
this is a family show.
I would get blown away by cover art, and I that really always just drew me. I'm like, okay, I've got to see this movie,
right?
And Christmas Vacation was one.
Dude, I was thinking about that when Shadow was talking about the drawing.
Yeah, so like I kept seeing this and I was like, this movie looks crazy. Like the cover art, like Chevy Chase, whatever. At that time, I had no idea what the hell's going on, what it was. I actually thought it was a horror movie. So I'm sitting here like, oh snap, I gotta see that movie. And then lo and behold, it's not rated R. Yeah. And so like we rented it one day and I put it in the VHS and like a minute into it, I was like, I've seen this fucking movie 1,000 times. I did not realize this is the same fucking movie.
Because of the art.
Because at no point is he on top of the roof getting electrocuted in a Sonic suit.
And
never made the connection.
And that happened with video games all the time, man.
Dude.
Like, do you remember Kroll, the video game for Atari 2600, dude?
Yeah,
like, it has a guy with a throwing star, and there's monsters and demons,
and you're
and
like,
all sorts
this is the fucking game. And then you plug it in. And absolute ass. That game was awful.
There was an Atari port that went to the NES called Track and Field. Now I thought this was the one with the pad where you
right.
Yeah. It was not. You use the hand controllers to do a hammer throw and a hurdle or whatever, and you're just like,
you're in a circle.
It's impossible to get anything right, and you end up killing half the people in the crowd. And
the crowd is blood.
Not really. That would have made that game really cool.
That game would be awesome. So
it was ass.
Another thing that I remember from fondly from video rental stores was this is where I got my wrestling nostalgia fix, because they would have every pay-per-view from the early 80s, including this is where my affinity for WrestleMania 3 happened with Hogan and Andre. I could go back and watch it because I think that was like 83, 84,
Dude,
85.
You can just watch it on YouTube. Why'd you have to?
Because it was fucking 1989.
I hate no internet.
Yeah, and I was like, Mom, can we rent this? And one of them, I don't know why, one of the WrestleManias was like 4 fucking VHSs or something. And she's like, no. Because of the places that rented. I looked it up too. I looked up the run times, and I don't know why they were that long, but I definitely remember that. They were like 4 fucking VHSs deep, not because it was like multiple copies. Like that thing was just thick. And so I was just like, oh, like one day when I have enough money, I'm going to invent the internet and watch it all the time on YouTube.
I mean, that's how I watched like the first few WrestleManias, was like renting it from the video store.
Yeah,
I'm sure as crap did not see that stuff live, but I watched them over and over again.
Do you remember there was a setting on the VCR where like it would use more tape? What was
you had
about?
like SP, LP, and SLP,
Good,
and it was like
call.
Yeah, like 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. So
if you're recording, but if I guess the theory is if you did SP, it was higher quality. Like
it's the amount of frames that go by per second. So like the slower it went, the worse quality you had. So like the 6 SLP would be like really crappy quality, but you could record 50 fucking things on there.
Yeah, you would have more frames per volume.
Yeah.
It gets you drunker quicker.
To those of you who are uninitiated, it's similar to watching a stream in like 280p. And then,
But we are initiated, aren't we, Gibbs?
You think darkness is your ally?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Gibbs?
No, it's actually
Gibbs.
Don't do it, gentlemen.
Slancha.
No.
Slancha. So, look.
Check out the new fucking scrub I love.
I can't wait to sleep for 2.5 hours tonight.
For this next part, before we kind of dive in, I kind of want to dive into some video games too, but the video stores where I first was also introduced to the forbidden UFC, and they would have those tapes in there. You had to be 18, and I remember thinking, what the fuck is going on with these? This is barbaric.
When did
this was late 90s.
Wait, hold on a second. They had UFC video.
Yes, late 90s, early 2000s.
I remember them.
Sure,
100%.
I remember that.
I had friends that were like, dudes die in these fights. Just blatant lies because nobody had seen them. But like they were legitimate. And they
just to put it into context, UFC
93.
#1 was 93. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
So yeah. So they were in there, and I remember seeing them in Movie Gallery, which Leaf has some boring ass facts on Movie Gallery that we can hit on. But I remember seeing that, like, it was like smut to me though, because of all the lore on it. I was like, man, like Leaf said, people were like, dudes die in this.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that reminds me.
I love
Faces of Death.
Rumors.
yeah. What?
Faces of Death.
Oh no, we had that at the movie theater.
Yeah, we had that movie theater.
Yeah,
I have it downstairs.
Stop doing that.
It's definitely haunted, by the way. That film is haunted.
It's absolutely haunted, yes. Movie Gallery was also formed in 1985, much like Blockbuster Video, by Joel Mulligan and Harrison Parrish in Dothan, Alabama.
No,
are you kidding me?
Alabama.
No way.
Yes.
They didn't even have electricity until like 3 weeks
Yeah, dude.
ago.
The black hole before Panama City.
Yes. Yes. For those
that makes sense, Gibbs. The electricity thing, that's why they knock up their sisters so much, because they didn't have lights.
They still haven't stopped. Nothing will stop that from happening.
I love how we work so hard to build up our fan base and just gets eliminated by Chadwick.
They did not have electricity until 3 weeks ago. I don't know if they know how to listen.
Yeah,
Gibbs doesn't help either. They were
Alabama.
They ended up being the
Mama, what's vacation?
Yeah.
Movie Gallery ended up being the second largest movie and rental gaming company in 2005 in the United States and Canada. We had a movie gallery here. Believe
Canada,
it
We had a couple.
Yep.
we had a couple. Yeah, I think there was one in Hickson, and then there was one over there at on Gun Barrel Way.
There was one on 58. There was one next to the
Food Line?
Food Max.
Oh, yeah.
There
I
had to have been
completely
one.
forgot about that.
Then there was one in Ooltewah because my ex-girlfriend used to work there, and that's where I got a lot of VHSs.
Nice.
And we would when they would come out the night before, we would borrow them.
VHS.
Well played, Gibbs.
Yes,
Well played.
VHS is code for head.
Yeah, no, no.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He loves his wife. He's a great husband.
Bitches leave.
No, my favorite thing about Movie Gallery, and I ended up like being unfaithful to Blockbuster for a while because of Movie Gallery, is like if it wasn't a new release, you can get 5 movies for $5 for 5
so
days.
that was the thing too. Like mom and pops would actually cash in on this too. Is they would lower the prices a little bit, or if they were new and everybody was still going to Blockbuster and you're kind of hip to the scene, you could get movies there that you couldn't get other places because they were sold out at Blockbuster or whatever.
But the late fee was increased.
Yeah, and like the new releases at Movie Gallery, you can only have them for like one night or something like that. Whereas, but if you got the 5 for 5 that weren't new releases, 5 movies, $5 for 5 days, man.
Yep.
And that's like, I was a latchkey kid, so like my parents would just load us up on VHSs, and that's what we did for a week, especially during the summer. Whenever like they had us locked in our cages.
Yeah, I remember going to Video Mart and doing that.
It's
like
a woman thing.
We would. I walked out with like a whole stack, and this guy in the back was like, "Other people want to masturbate, you know."
All the other top movie rentals, E.T. Extraterrestrial. Did anybody ever rent that one?
Never rented it. We owned that since I could remember. Like we had that stupid, ugly VHS since like the beginning of time.
Before they CGI the guns out of the FBI agents' like hands and put walkie-talkies for some reason.
What did you guys prefer whenever
that?
you bought a movie? Did you like the clamshell thing or did you like the paper sleeve?
I like the paper.
I like the paper sleeve
because it fit better, like when you're lining them up and you could see
and
like
it
the
didn't
back
look awkward on the shelf. Everything was like paper.
It
and
was
then
like like everything was even, and then it was this big hump or whatever.
And you had those ridiculous the Disney boxes that were like super shiny and fucking
And did you organize yours by the number of boobs that were in each movie?
No, but I just
Leaf did.
Also, 1990 classic Home Alone.
Dude,
Home Alone.
That was a big one. But when I looked at these lists, I found out a lot of these were movies that, like to Gibbs's point, and I forgot why, that we would go rent them and then buy them, but it was because of what Gibbs said, where you could only rent them first and then you could go buy them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Home Alone was one that I rented all the time, but I never owned that movie. I don't think like it was just a movie that,
dude.
I mean, it's Christmas, so you'd get it during Christmas. I didn't really want to watch it the rest of the year.
I think it's like Gibbs said. I would rent something, and if I liked it, I would just wait a couple of weeks and buy it.
Yeah,
I wasn't that disciplined. I would rent it. And then
my family either.
Yeah.
We never bought movies. We just rented it again.
How I came about my cash is another question.
Yeah, no, I was going to say my parents didn't buy stuff for me. I had to, mow yards. Or
Do you guys have any idea how hard it is to steal money out of your parents' wallets?
I have a vague idea.
Yeah.
No, I didn't get that.
The Matrix,
just
1999.
just jewelry.
So like by the time the Matrix came out, though, I was kind of late. And I could buy it if I wanted to, and so
I mean
I didn't have to buy or rent the Matrix. A friend of mine let me borrow it, and then I just never returned it to him.
Excellent move.
What's up, Andy? How's it going, bro? Heard you were a doctor.
Hey, it's like
bro.
It's like that Leif used up to like $17,000, yo.
Yeah.
This is a good point to talk about the DVDs versus the cassette tapes. We didn't mention, but yes, Titanic was a double-decker tape. For some reason, WrestleMania was a quad tape for no reason, but maybe it was because they wanted it in really good quality. I don't know, but
So I do have this is a short story about DVDs when they came onto the scene. and this is actually about my wife's mom. She, unfortunately, I never got to meet her, but she was very like innocently naive, you know.
Yeah.
And when they rented their first DVD, she didn't take it back for like 2 weeks because she couldn't figure out how to rewind it.
I have an almost
I love
equally
this
yeah, I have almost an equally embarrassing story where I remember one Christmas with my first girlfriend, and I was like, we were like big South Park fans or whatever, and I was like, I'm gonna get her this like South Park season whatever DVD. Like it was like a best of. I wasn't even season, and I was like, this is gonna be a good thing. And so I get it, and she opens it, and she's just like, what's this? And I was like, South Park DVD, and she was just like, I don't have a DVD player, and I was like,
is that why you broke up with her?
I'll be back.
I made you a mixtape.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was. Yeah, good job, Chris.
And we would also be.
Hey, all that matters though is that it worked out later on in life.
I got you a $14.99 gold necklace from Walmart.
Yeah, all that.
I'm sorry, that was Kmart.
Yeah, all that effort you put in, Chris, was for nothing. So, younger Chris, when time machines exist, just don't fucking do it.
There you go. That's your life lesson. And we'd also be remiss for naming our podcast this and not talking about rewinding the actual tapes.
Yeah.
And what do y'all remember about that? And when did that practice end? Penalty specifically.
It was a $2 fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It was
on a $350 rental maybe.
Yeah, it was a hefty fine.
Yeah, they would
savage.
And they had speed rewinders that they would just stick in and it would take 30 seconds, and then you ended up having to pay for like an entire day.
And it was maximizing profit is what it was for the business.
I always thought that the speed rewinders were probably not good for the tapes, though.
I thought that too. But I guess go ahead, Leaf.
Maybe Gibbs can knock this rumor down. I always heard that for the uninitiated, the cassette tapes had to be rewound.
VHS.
They just didn't. VHS had to be rewound. Like they couldn't just be. It wouldn't just start over. Right, the movie ended and the tape ended, and then you had to rewind it.
There were some VHS players later on in the game that once it hit the very end of the tape, they would automatically rewind it.
That was my question. I heard, and maybe this is just the early VCRs or not at all, it was actually bad for the VCR to constantly rewind. Yeah. That's what I heard.
It wasn't as bad for the VCR as it was for the VHS tapes. The more you rewound it, the more likely you were going to break it, get it,
right. For anybody that did, I mean, because back then we were all this analog tape shit because it happened with cassettes.
Yeah,
it happened with 8-tracks, and so
if you remember, there were like the cassette tapes where some cassette players would not rewind. You had to flip it over, fast forward it, and then go back.
Yep.
Do you guys remember your first VCR?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a gray,
and it was silver.
VCR.
Yeah, I guess silver, gray or silver, whatever was mine.
You remember the brand? Anybody?
I don't.
I don't know.
I'm not even positive mine was Panasonic.
That's what I wanted to think in my head.
I had a Zenith.
Oh,
no way!
And it didn't have the slot to put the tape in. It had like
you had a top deck,
a lid
that you had to push down,
like the Nintendo.
Yeah,
sort of. We did have one of those, but we also had one that had like a lid that you opened up.
Okay,
it was like on a
set it down inside.
It's like on a hinge. You put it in there and then slide it down.
Oh shit!
I've never had one of those, man.
There was actually a kind of a famous story out of Ringgold, Georgia. That they call him the Zenith Man. He was a guy that came around and worked on people's TVs and VCRs, and he got sent to prison for murdering his wife. And
took a dark turn.
My point is, the dude came to our house.
Oh shit!
When I
was dead wife in his hands.
I mean, no,
can you guys fix this?
Don't be
kids.
Don't
she
be
waited in the car.
Don't be fucking ridiculous. He did track this weird like dark red stuff all over the carpet. when he came in.
Dark red stuff.
Yeah, it was on his shoes. Like,
did you offer him tea?
Yeah, like cookies
so
and
like,
milk.
so what did he came to your house to what? Just to see you, like, to hang out with your VCR?
No, he went to people's houses and worked on their TVs and VCRs when they were messed up. Like he was
he was like somebody you'd call that would come over to you. Oh,
yeah.
It wasn't like just going door to door knocking on doors.
But they call him the Zenith Man. That was like his killer
like,
name or whatever.
Is he still in jail?
No, he recently got out, I think.
Let's
get him on the podcast. We're gonna look this up right now.
I'm looking it up, dude. Zenith Man Killer.
That is crazy.
Let's get him on the podcast.
Oh my god!
There's something on Amazon. Zenith Man: Death, Love, and Redemption.
Okay, so
in October '97, the town of Ringgold, Northwest Georgia, was shaken by reports of a murder in its midst.
I guess if you're going to be known for something,
yeah. I'll tell you right now,
Ringgold just got their first road last week.
We'll put this link in our bio in Amazon.
Yeah, it was I-75.
Amazon sponsor our podcast. That's what you need to do. We're plugging your shit. So let's move on from movies.
Zenith Man, sponsor our podcast.
Yeah, let's move on from movies and let's go to these delicious video games. And I have them broken up by system. So we'll go NES, SNES, and Sega. Where do you guys want to start?
Well,
NES.
I never had a Nintendo, so go ahead.
All right. But that's the great thing about like these rental places. You could rent a Nintendo.
You could rent a Nintendo. So the top ranked in the 90s NES rental was Super Mario Brothers 3, which debuted on the movie The Wizard.
It
California.
It wasn't the.
That was by the way, that was the same kid that was in Little Big League.
Yeah, I know. How fucked up is that?
Are you sure it wasn't the Ninja Turtles game where you have the impossible water hazard in the first fucking?
No one liked that game.
First off, I love that game, but I could never get past the water level.
No, it wasn't.
Whenever I watch like YouTubers play that Ninja Turtles game, I'm like they're cheating. They're using
Ninja
some sort of
damn rabbit. Do something.
So I didn't have a Nintendo, but I had like several friends that did. I loved Contra. I did like that.
Contra is also on the list.
The Ninja Turtles game, I did like it.
Mario Brothers
I never really got
3
to play it, but
was such like a leap forward for that system. The fact that just looking back on it and all the other Nintendo games, and then you see Mario Brothers 3 and what it did, and you're like, how is this? It's
hard to look back on Nintendo and think of Super Mario Brothers 3 and not think that was an SNES game.
Yeah,
to me, because it was so good.
You know what kind of blew my mind? It was the original Nintendo that had Duck Hunt, right?
Yeah.
So you had a gun that you could point at your TV,
which was the number 3 most rented because you could have the gun with it too.
Yeah, like that kind of blew my mind.
I loved that. Like, so when our Nintendo had a 3-pack, it had the real track and field that had the push pad, and it had Duck Hunt and it had Super Mario Brothers, and that's a month worth of fun. Right there.
Oh yeah, man.
But Mario Brothers 3, man, I felt like that just took everything I was so obsessed with that game.
I was obsessed with that movie.
What was the point of the Power Glove?
The point of the Power Glove is to sell a lot of Power Gloves.
Shitty product.
The same thing. It was the Robbie the Robot it was a gimmick.
Dude, yes. What was Robbie the? Can anyone explain it? So Robbie the Robot, was he supposed to play with you?
Okay, so Nintendo always does this. This is sort of like even to this very day, Nintendo is on the cutting edge of innovation. Always. Like they are always doing different things. They had lots of intentions that sort of never panned out. Right? Like the god awful Nintendo 64 controller, which is just an absolute piece of shit.
I love that thing,
dude. It was not. It was not good.
Is that the one that had like the extra long?
Yeah, it was like a three-pronged,
3 dicks to hold, and you just jerk them off trying to do it simultaneously.
It looked like something you order off Adam and Eve.
What's crazy is they took that innovation later on when they made like the Nintendo Wii.
Right.
That actually became, they split it and it became like
great.
two pieces, dude. And so Robbie the Robot was supposed to be basically like a companion. He would do things. He had, I believe, he had sensors in his eyes.
Yes.
So it was supposed to be sort of interactive in some different ways, and that was sort of the idea. Like they were moving, you know.
If I can, I'll splice in the Robbie the Robot commercial because that was like out of the gate.
Will you be the one to witness the birth of the incredible Nintendo Entertainment System? The one to play with Rob, the extraordinary video robot, batteries not included. He helps you tackle even the toughest challenge. Will you be the first to raise the incredibly accurate Zapper and play games like Duck Hunt or action-packed Hogan's Alley and high-flying Kung Fu, each sold separately? Will you be the one to experience the Nintendo Entertainment System?
Yeah, it was one of the things you could buy for the Nintendo. You could have the light gun, right? And Robbie the Robot.
But to Chadwick's point, the light gun still like actually go visit Quality Arcades. I'll also include that link in this thing. But my wife, who is a massive Duck Hunt fan, Duck Hunt's on that, and I bought the guns with that, and she was playing it. And she was doing really good, so I walked in front of her and I fucked up her rhythm, and then she lost, and I laughed at her like the dog.
Have they come up with like an updated
and you're like Duck Hunt?
Have they come up with an updated Duck Hunt game? Like you know, like they remake games all the freaking time. They have they have an update.
No, they don't. But I mean, where you can shoot the dog. That's where we're getting at, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. I love that game, but like you see all these other less iconic games getting remakes, and why doesn't that one get one? Because that one everybody loves.
Because that one's also on the list. The original Super Mario Brothers is on the list.
That's great.
Castlevania, which was a fucking banger.
That one was great. It was a hard fucking game, but that one was so cool.
And Chadwick's favorite, Contra, on that fucking list.
I thought you were going to say X-Men on Sega.
No. You guys know the Konami code, and do you know how stupid people sound whenever they say it wrong?
Yes. Say it correctly. Say it correctly for the fucking audience.
Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start.
There it is. Everybody else get fucked.
Also, I have to amend that too. In some games, it was select start at the same time.
Yes, but that's not the original Konami.
That is not the original. Correct.
Yeah, so get fucked. And then Punch Out, which also
Tish.
we're all
I love some Punch Out.
Punch Out was great. It used to be Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Then allegedly things happened. And then
I thought the other one came first. I thought the other one
was Punch Out. Then it was Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Then it went back to fucking Punch Out.
And then they had Super Punch Out. But Punch Out was awesome, dude. I loved Mike Tyson's Punch Out was my favorite game for years.
Forever.
So they are doing a remake of that. It's going to be on Netflix in November.
Yeah, take that.
Take that. All right, guys, let's move on to Sega. So the first two, probably like everyone would assume, would be Sonic's. Sonic 1, Sonic 2. Sonic 2 was great. So I do remember us renting the absolute shit out of Sonic 2, Leaf. And because it was the first time you could basically kind of sort of co-op with Sonic.
Yeah.
And so like me and Leaf would swap out. One of us was Sonic. One of us was Tails.
I hated Tails.
He didn't matter. None of this mattered. Actually, I could go into an entire dive into what happened and how they made Tails and everything from this Sega book from Tom Kalinske that I read. But like, it's boring. So, but anyway, they made Tails with two tails.
Sorry.
And actually, like when they named him, they had all these different names and shit. And then finally, somebody was like, "We'll just call him Tails." And then everybody was like,
"Brilliant."
Fuck,
we don't give a shit.
Fine. Like it was like one of those like we ever get so exhausted. We've kind of probably done it with F&A before where we're writing songs and we're like, we'll name it this, we'll name it that, we'll do this, we'll do that, and then finally Gibbs is like, I fucked your mom. She's killed her with my big fat dick. She's dead. And I'm like, okay, well it's in the song now. I'm over it.
Hey, you don't say that.
Yeah.
No, one thing I loved about Sonic was the very first game I ever played on a Sega. I loved that intro. That sounded so cool, and it was so fast, and the graphics were so slick that
it had blast core processing, which most systems did not have.
Yes.
Are you ready for some blast core excitement?
No systems had it.
So Leaf, Sonic the Hedgehog, me and Leaf both got Sega Genesis the same Christmas. And so like we called each other after like, oh dude, I got Sonic, got Sonic. And so we're just playing levels, and then like occasionally would call each other later on in the day, be like, "What level did you get to?" Like, whatever.
Did you get to the bubble level?
Yeah. Then we'd go. Did you get to the goddamn fucking water level? Whoever invented that I assume it's Yoshihiro San.
To...
You should stop.
Yoshihiro San. Sorry, Mr. Sorry, Mr. Hashira-san.
Yeah.
But yeah,
don't make water levels.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the water levels. I'm pretty sure single-handedly was the responsible for my anxiety because of the music.
Yes.
The time running out music.
You had to find that freaking bubble.
Like you feel like
you had to find that bubble and be like,
"Oh, dude, I can still hear it in my nightmares, dude."
So that's also a wonderful thing to give to children. Is just your favorite character drowning right in front of you.
So what was that? Was that what 88, 89?
No, that was 92.
Like, yeah.
92,
and Sonic was supposed to be like man, I got attitude and stuff like that. Whereas Mario's like, hey, it's me, Mario.
He was, dude.
I'm trying to remember. Like there was a Batman
Sonic
89 game for Genesis.
Right, but Sega released Sonic the Hedgehog was 91, and that was during the rebrand.
Wasn't the Batman 89 game like originally like an arcade movie that they just ported to the Sega?
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
because Sega did what Nintendo don't.
We talked about this on our Sega episode. Like
that will be scrubbed.
It's true.
I didn't even hear what you said.
I said Sega does what Nintendo don't.
The classic, dude.
That's what the commercial said.
No, on the Sega episode, we talked about like the Batman games, how much they progressed from like each movie. They got exponentially better.
Dude, by the time they got to the lesser thans, those games were fucking awesome.
The Batsuit had nipples. You hate that too.
They were fucking awesome. After Sonic, we get Mortal Kombat, ABA, CABB. Like, just gonna throw it out there. That was the blood code for Sega, which is one of the things that put Sega on top. And what I didn't know, Sega and SNES were bidding for the rights to Mortal Kombat. And Mortal Kombat's like, no, we're going to release on both. And they were like, And they were the first
platform.
They were the fucking first game that would release both on Sega and SNES. And Sega was like, shit, we don't have blast core processing. So we got to, and SNES was like, well, we're kind of like Mario. So no blood, and Sega's like, oh shit, no, we got this.
Well, no, Sega still didn't have blood, but then they were like,
they had the blood code. So what was funny is that Sega with the blood code,
blood, not funny.
I think they like it was like a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 sales ratio.
Yeah.
But if you go back and play the game and you played the arcade game, the SNES graphics are so far superior.
And also, like in the Sega game, you only had one punch button or one kick button. I can't remember because there was only
that's
three
when
buttons.
they debuted that's when the 6-button controller came out. Well, it was Street Fighter 2, but
but most people did not just go out and buy a new controller.
Yes.
And so it was really weird and awkward. The gameplay was less fun, I think, on the SNE or on the Sega, but on the SNES, like. You also got new fatalities.
You did, yeah.
So, like especially the Sub-Zero one, which Sub-Zero's original fatality in Mortal Kombat, he like rips the guy's head off, and there's this like spine hanging out, which is what made me love Mortal Kombat.
That's goddamn spine.
But in the SNES,
I'm ripping off your head,
freeze, and then
throwing it at your body.
And I was like.
You.
I was like, holy shit, this new fatality is really cool. It's not as cool, but I like the fact that I have a new one to look at. And I love that.
It's kind of the old, like, it's SNES versus Sega, and they both just kept fucking building. It's the WWF versus WCW, and they both, the competition breeds better content, right? So Sega knew, hey, we're fucking licked on graphics. Like, we got to do blood. And actually what I didn't know is Sega is the one that introduced the fucking rating system to Congress.
Is it really?
Yes. So Sega said, hey, because they saw it coming, right? They were like, hey, we're going to do this blood shit. But like, if we have a rating system, then you're not going to ban any games. And then you're just going to have like ratings like movies, right? Hey, man, movies exist for blood and shit. Why can't video games? And so they spearheaded that. And that's kind of what led to that whole. I want to do an entire podcast, which we will, and it may be boring as fuck, but I want to do a podcast on Congress getting involved in shit they shouldn't get involved in, mainly video games.
So was that before or after the ratings on musical albums
after, because that was during the 80s with Tipper Gore.
Parental advisory happened.
2 Live Crew, baby.
Dude, fuck people on stage allegedly.
I bet that pussy tastes good.
I bet that tastes good.
Allegedly, it does.
Hoes, pussy. So,
all right. So Gibbs, before we leave the Sega Genesis, do you know my story about the X-Men game?
About the reset button?
Well, that too. But I was big into X-Men. Like I think it was 91 or 92 when Jim Lee they restarted the X-Men.
The
comic book. I was hardcore into it, and I found out that Sega Genesis was making this X-Men game. It's the first game I ever pre-ordered. It was Electronics Boutique at Hamilton Place Mall. We go up to get it the day that it arrived. On the way home, this was March of '93. On the way home, it started to snow a little bit. I got to play that game for about 5 minutes before we lost power for 4 days from that fucking blizzard in '93.
Did you get late fees?
No, I bought
it.
Oh, you bought it? Okay, yeah.
I pre-ordered it.
Yeah, we've
hold on a second.
Derailed from renting video games.
Wait, hold up a second.
I just want to tell this story.
Sorry.
Hold on. So
no, you're fine. Tell the story.
I have I lived in Florida at the time, so like me wrapping my head around this is kind of crazy.
It was a like batshit crazy storm.
Yeah,
like we had no shit, like 3 feet of snow.
Yeah, it was bad. Like in Harrison, we were without power for like a week.
Yeah, I think we were 4 or 5 days. We had to like cook on a flat top.
Yeah, we had a kerosene heater. We had a kerosene heater burning indoors with no ventilation, so that's probably awesome.
Yeah.
Why did I have lung problems as a kid?
That was weird, dude. This mystery.
Yeah, we would put water into like a pot and go outside and throw it up in the air, and it would freeze before it hit the ground.
Oh man, it was crazy. Yeah, it typically didn't get that cold. People were stealing gas.
Yeah,
like it was pandemonium down here. People were freezing.
To wind us back to fucking renting. Me and Leaf rented the X-Men game. We rented this, and we were like, all right, like, and we're, because the cartoon was out at this point, like, it's fucking prime X-Men time. The arcade game's out, like, yeah, let's, like, fucking rock and roll. And then, actually, part of me thought, like, is this going to be the arcade adaptation? But it wasn't. But it was an awesome game because you still have co-op, right? Yeah. So we're playing co-op. We're going through all the levels, which is why whoever wrote this game and programmed this game can go fuck themselves eternally. There was one button on a fucking console that you don't fucking use in a game, and that's the reset button. Mm-hmm. So you beat, I forgot who it was, before the final level where you play Magneto, and we'd seen it in GamePro where it was like they had a level by level. They didn't tell you what was happening, but they were like, yeah, Magneto's the last boss. And we're like, yeah, got to get to Magneto. We beat this dude, and it's like, reset the computer, and we're like, so we're jumping around the fucking level trying to, like, me and Leaf.
No, I mean 6 weeks probably. I was on the same level,
dude.
Go back,
crawler all over the place.
Yeah, it was like there was like a mesh wall, like you could walk behind the wall, and you're like, well, maybe it's like hidden behind there. Where's the reset button?
Leaf rented it first. Push? I rented it the next week. He rented it the week after that, and then it came back to me. No, this was like a 4 fucking week thing, and I was like, I think I finally got a Game Genie for Christmas, and we skipped to Magneto and beat it. And then finally a Game Pro came out, or EGM, and it was like, you hit the reset button. And I was like, you never hit the fucking reset button.
No, because you would lose your progress. Like, the games didn't auto-save.
No.
Like back then.
I never found out about that. I never actually got to see Magneto. I just eventually just went.
I owned the fucking game, and I never got to see it.
That is the craziest fucking thing in the world, and the most brilliant thing in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, I guarantee you it was in the booklet, and nobody ever read the booklet.
Probably.
Yeah. After I got past the first page of like kick, punch, special.
Yeah,
all right, we're good.
Yeah.
We're fine. We're from the South. We don't read down here.
Yeah, dude. So that was
learning for others.
Dude, that was one of the ones on the list.
This is a house of learned doctors.
Yes. Streets of Rage was also on that list, which me and Leaf rented the fuck out of. Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3. Played the fuck. Me and Leaf were big co-op guys, and Leaf I'm going to take you down to one that's going to take you back. NBA Jam.
Speaking of hitting the reset button.
The NBA Jam for Sega Genesis and for SNES, there was a massive computer assist that was programmed into these. So if you were up by 2 points or 3 points, say like you hit a basket, it's tied, you go up by 3 points, and there was anything above 0.6 seconds left, they were making that basket. Full court, throwing it in, and it fucking pissed me off because we figured it out after it happened 3 times in a row, and I was like, God fucking damn it. Because we're trying to
go in.
We're trying to beat this thing in 3 days, right? So we got to beat all, 28 at the time NBA teams. And so what I would do is me and Leaf are sitting, I'm in a chair, Leaf's on his bed or he's in a wheelchair, and it would be like, at the buzzer, good! And then it's me diving and hitting the reset button.
He would come. I remember vividly the one time we were at your house because you left off your bed and he had this TV stand. As it was going in, he'd hit the reset because we would save it after every game. So we would just play that game over again. About to lose, and when they ruined our perfect score, and he leapt off and then slammed the second Genesis thing slides back. Yeah, to reset the damn game so our perfect score would be
Do
necessary.
you guys remember the football games when there would be a fumble and it would go for 60 yards?
Oh yeah, when it would shoot out the back and just keep going. Yes. So
whenever I played NBA Jam, I wasn't really interested in beating the game. I would just, they had codes for putting in. And would have special players. Yep. I always played as Warren Moon. I'd get up big and then lose in the clutch.
Meanwhile, he had the gigantic head, the big head.
There are 3 people that would get that joke, and one of those is Matt Wallace and Brandon.
Love you guys.
Shadwick, what games do you remember renting for Sega?
You remember Siphon Filter?
I do.
Vaguely.
I never heard of that.
It was kind of like a spy, kind of a James Bond type thing, third person point of view. Mm-hmm. It was one of those games you had to figure out as you go. There were little clues. You'd have to hide behind walls while guys were shooting at you and sneak around. Yeah, it was one of the games. It just took a long time.
Yeah.
But I also remember I owned Mike Ditka Power Football.
Right.
But I rented the Joe Montana, what was it called? Was it
Sports
Quarterback?
Talk?
Oh, it was Quarterback Club.
Great catch.
Great catch.
We were hoping.
Great. Yeah. Where he would have the little head-ins. Hey.
Yeah. I remember renting that, and I faked being sick so I could stay home on Monday.
Dude, I did that a lot.
Dude, actually, that game was good until you figured out all you had to do is post pass over and over again. And
dude,
or then it got really good because you just dominated the whole time.
Yeah, the halfback pass worked in every fucking game for some reason. No matter what, you could do halfback pass. Here's the other thing with renting games that people that maybe younger don't understand is it's saved to the cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
So occasionally
you could pick up someone else's game.
Right. And then you could play through. Or if you rented it the week before and you went back and no one touched it and you rented it again, you would hit the fucking gold mine and you would be able to play your saved game again.
Progress saved.
Yeah.
There was a point where I liked goofy games like
Goof Troop?
No, what was it called? Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim.
Oh, and Toe Jam and Earl.
Yeah, and
Jammin'
and Vector Man.
Yeah, Leaf. Let's talk.
Coming out of the booth.
Yeah, before we start to wrap this up about the game, I'm 100% sure we rented the most, and they talked about it. Toe Jam and Earl, and we never fucking bought that game. But never. I would be willing to bet if we could pull our Blockbuster records that we rented that game 20 plus times between the both of us.
There's no doubt in my mind. That was one of our favorite games. It was 2-player co-op, and one of us, I was always Earl, and you were always Toe Jam. I was the fat guy. Yes. And it's had many incarnations and been remade that you almost can't beat the original. It was just the weirdest game. If you never played it, you don't know.
It was so funny and so frustrating at the same time because you could fuck each other over so much.
Oh, dude, you could, yeah.
And like you would be like, "Oh yeah, we're doing it," and then the other person's like, "I'm bored," and then fuck you up, and you're like, "Ah, god damn it!"
You would have presents you would pick up so you could fuck the other person over. But I remember me and Leaf got so bored with this game. We beat it several times because you're just finding pieces of the spaceship. But we would go to the options and you could just play sound effects over and over again, which probably speaks to what I do now with editing and shit. Like we would just play a funny sound effect, or we would lead into a joke where it would just be like, my toe, or like, you know, like boing, like, you know, it was like 4:00 in the morning. At least Dad's about to wake up and just beat the fuck out of us for being up that late.
I because at max volume you hear boogie, boogie, boogie.
Did any of you guys play a GoldenEye? I'm sure that's
dude. So
that ended friendships right there.
Okay, so I want to tell a story before that. Speaking of ending friendships, Battletoads, which we also rented.
I saw falling down the tunnel.
I saw Leaf and his brother come to fucking blows over Battletoads in front of me.
I'm pretty sure I choked my little brother.
Because it was the first co-op game that you could hit each other. So it was like
thing in the world,
dude. So you're rappelling down, and I remember Leaf like kicked him off, and his brother was like, "You did that on purpose," and he's like, "No, I didn't." And then so he gets back and whatever. And so then Leaf does do it on purpose because, you know, it's his little brother. And then it's just like controllers drop, like fucking fists are thrown. Leaf's like choking him. I'm just sitting there and I'm like,
no joke. That game should only be played as a one-player game.
Yes.
It will save a lot of heartache, a lot of friendships, some arrest records. Like that going down, that was frustrating. Like because you're going down and you can turn into like this big wrecking ball thing and just knock the other guy down and he's fucking dead. And then it just got worse from there because the next level you're on these like jet skis going like 50 miles
jet ski level.
Yeah. Dude, so I'll tell you that no video game ever reached that since then, because even on GoldenEye, it was you versus them. So there's like an understanding, like any first person shooter. That Battletoads, they did it again with Battletoads versus Double Dragon, where you can still fuck each other up on a co-op game. But like, you know, like you talked about with GoldenEye, like, did you have an N64, Leaf?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so
we had it.
So we would go down there,
packs.
which is crazy, right? So like, I'm staring at my computer monitor right now. I've got 4 of you guys in a quadrant, and this monitor is probably like 29-inch monitor or whatever, like not massive. This was the size of the TV we were playing fucking GoldenEye on.
Yeah.
And we were like, don't cheat and look at my screen, man. Like that was like
look at my screen was invented because of GoldenEye.
And you would just like, Shadow, did you play GoldenEye?
I did, but just as one player.
So like,
what was that like?
It was glorious.
Yeah. So when we were playing it with like 4 players, it's just you got this quadrant or whatever, and so then you can find out, okay, man, I can edit the rules because you would get bored, right? Yeah. So because you would continually, I don't think we own this. I think this is another one we rented with N64.
Yeah, we just rented it,
and so we would rent it. So it would be me, Leaf, his brother, and his cousin would come over, and so there's like 4 quadrants, and it was like, you obviously can look like fucking half an inch to your right, up, left, and see like what the fuck's going on, like what they're doing. And then you're like lying through your teeth, and they're like, how'd you know I was there? And you're like, I'm just good at this game.
Yeah, no, man. I was just looking, I was there. But then like you also had, you could change the rules and stuff like that. So it was like slappers only. And then you would have to make your own like personal, hey guys, nobody can get odd job. You're not allowed to play as odd job.
Dude.
You could just stand next to the person as odd job and they couldn't shoot you because you were so short.
Yeah, the best one was I mean, I'm sure we're probably the only people that thought of this. But we called him hand job.
We were so smart, dude.
We were so original, you know? Like, where was Hollywood?
Hand jobs?
Yeah. Where's my fucking Batman lawnmower fucking and series?
That's why you got the doctorate, my friend.
I just now remembered this too. We cannot forget. We have to mention that there were special pizza deals that went along with like Blockbuster discounts.
Yeah.
So when you rented it, you could get like, what was the deal? Do y'all remember exactly what it was? You could get food, so you could plan out your like entire weekend. It was like you get pizza.
It was
like
genius.
drinks.
It was genius by Pizza Hut, is what it was. It was
it Pizza Hut that started the deal.
Yeah, dude, Pizza Hut was the master of promotion back then.
Maybe it was Domino's. I can't remember.
I thought it was
pretty
Domino's.
It's pretty sure it was Pizza Hut. But anyway,
I think it's Pizza Hut.
You would buy the pizza and they would give you a coupon. Like, so you bought some shit from them and that coupon gave you either a discount or a free rental.
Remember this too, like this was also part of the weekend because like what did you eat? Like what was it? Like pizza was like the number one thing that I can remember. I don't know what else if you want to throw anything on the list. Was there maybe
no,
people did Taco Bell.
But Taco Bell came later, man. Taco Bell came in whenever Congo came out. You're like, I gotta get that Congo cup.
Dude,
I will always
Amy,
I will always love
good gorilla. Amy want raindrop drink.
Amy wants green drop drink.
One thing I specifically remember renting from Blockbuster was the attachment that went. It was a CD player attachment that went onto the Sega Genesis.
Sega CD.
Yeah, Sega CD, man.
Okay, so there was some type. I think it was a Dracula game that came with that, and it was one of those deals where it would actually like play like a movie scene.
It was fucking Night Trap. It was Night Trap, is what you're thinking of.
It was one of those deals where like you had to make a decision at the end of it.
Yep, that was Night Trap,
and that
was.
I was an only child, and I was by myself. Like
PG.
I was playing that like 2:30 in the morning, and it scared the shit out of me.
Dude, that game is one of the reasons that they almost banned video games.
Really?
That's why. Yes, Night Trap was a massive fucking block on that shit.
The sexual innuendo, because there was a bunch of girls in like a sorority style setting. I don't know if it was a family, but they were like scantily clad girls.
So the guys
we're thinking of different things. I'm thinking of one from it was like a period piece. Like it was a. Like
was it Castlevania?
I'm looking it up.
No, it was like.
Was it like Sherlock Holmes? There was a Sherlock Holmes.
There was a Sherlock Holmes.
If it was for Sega CD, the one that Sega CD, these guys were vampires and they would like put their things in, but it wasn't like fangs like a vampire. They would put like needles in them and they would suck their blood, and that's how they would kill them.
This was definitely a vampire.
I know exactly what you're talking about because my sister loved it. It literally was Sherlock Holmes. Consulting detective for Sega CD. Like if you're talking about like a period piece, because that's like I could send you some of the stuff for it, Shadwick, but I can almost guarantee you that's what it was.
There's a Dracula Unleashed for Sega CD.
Really?
Oh, I only had Dracula Leashed.
Yeah. No, you have to get it unleashed.
Let's wrap it up. The final rental store, the runner up, I guess you might call it. Who remembers Hollywood Video?
I do.
Our third American video rental store chain,
our
founded in
shiny bronze medalist.
I think there may have been one of those in Eastridge.
All right, founded
one on Gumboro.
There was. Founded in 1988, the chain was the largest direct competitor to Blockbuster Video until it was acquired by Movie Gallery in 2005.
It had the spotlights and the logo, right?
It was literally like the Hollywood sign.
So that's when the one that was on 58 Highway was a Movie Gallery, and I thought it was a Hollywood Video, and I'm pretty sure that was when was the merger?
2005.
Yeah, so
that was way
after. It's when Movie Gallery acquired. Yeah, before they basically all went defunct except for Blockbuster.
So I always hated Hollywood Video, and it was more because of the location. I can't say anything. I've only been to one Hollywood Video, but I hated going there. It was on Gun Barrel Road in Chattanooga, and it was
the one we would go to. And we live in Harrison, which is so far away.
Inaccessible.
Was it over there? Was it where
it's where Smoky Bones
Boys
is right now.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. Okay. Good memory.
But
I'm thinking of Blockbuster Music. Maybe was over there, like where Pet Boys is now.
Yeah, that was That was a Blockbuster Video.
Yeah,
it was a video.
Yeah, that was a Blockbuster Video. That was the first place that I went to that had DVDs, and they tried to do the hybrid DVD also online thing, so you could rent your DVDs online, and it would come to you.
That's
and
when they fucking that was the best fucking deal. If you got Netflix and launch and Blockbuster fucked up here, I don't know how they fucked this up, but it was like you could get Blockbuster online. You would get like 3 DVDs a month or 5 DVDs a month, but you could take that DVD back to a store, give it to them, and rent a movie.
Yeah.
So it was under that
deal.
whole fucking that whole $20 a month.
Yeah.
It was great.
Now, I will say that Blockbuster gets a lot of shit for turning down the Netflix thing, but that Netflix offer was in 2000 before anybody knew who the fuck.
Fucking the stupidest thing ever.
Nobody knew who the fuck
exactly.
Netflix was at the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You can't give them shit for that, because it's like, okay, why the fuck would I?
I'm still downloading music in 4 days.
Well, they didn't. Netflix didn't even have streaming back then. It wasn't streaming.
That's what I mean.
It was just the. And here's the thing. Here's the thing about going to a movies video store and then going to one of those things and you just put something in a queue and be like, I want to rent this. What I want to watch tonight is not what I want to watch tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the
that's
next day it comes in and I'm like, I don't know why I wanted to watch a Steven Seagal video, but I'm not watching the fucking shit.
Well, how much of an impulse was it when you're in the store? When you're in the store and you're looking at I want to watch that now, and that carries 30 minutes when you get home.
Yeah, you get there and you're so excited to put that thing in.
That's where the cover art comes in.
Yeah, but the next day you're not nearly as horny, so why would I rent Showgirls for the third fucking time?
I have post-nut clarity.
Yeah, but 30 minutes later, you're like, good call, Full Nuts.
And with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and lead us over to our Norm Macdonald clip of the week.
This weekend, veteran news anchorman David Brinkley apologized to Bill Clinton for an election night commentary in which he called the president, quote, boring and uncreative. Admitted Brinkley, there was certainly nothing uncreative about the way you moved Vince Foster's body. The president's a murderer. You didn't know that?
Chasing